Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and instead of being swept into noise, distractions, and the chaos of the world, you begin your day with a mind that feels like a fortress, strong, silent, untouchable. This is the essence of Stoicism. This is the essence of self-mastery. Today in this series, we are diving deep into the hidden wisdom that can transform the way you see yourself, the way you respond to life, and the way you carry your power. And in this first part, we will begin with the foundation, building the inner fortress. Because before you can conquer the world, before you can win in business, relationships, or battles of destiny, you must first conquer yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. The world throws storms at you. People betray you. Plans fall apart. Money comes and goes. But through all of this, there is one thing that remains within your absolute control: your mind, your perception, your response. And so the question becomes, how do you build an iron mind? How do you train yourself so deeply, so relentlessly, that nothing external can break you? It begins with silence, not weakness, not passivity, but the silence of power. The silence of a lion before it roars. The silence of a warrior sharpening his blade before the battle begins. When you stop reacting to everything around you, you start gaining something most people will never taste in their lifetime: command. Command over your emotions, command over your decisions, command over your energy. Let's go deeper. Picture a man walking through a busy marketplace in ancient Rome. People are shouting, fighting over prices, spreading rumors. Everyone is pulled into noise. But in the corner, there is one man, calm, steady, unshaken. He does not waste his energy reacting to every insult. He does not try to prove himself to every passerby. His silence is not weakness, it is a weapon. That man is a Stoic. Now fast forward to today. The same thing is happening, only now the marketplace is digital. Social media is filled with arguments, gossip, envy, distractions. People are triggered by comments, destroyed by opinions, enslaved by comparison, and yet you have the chance to stand apart, to be like that man in the corner, to rise above the noise that is the inner fortress. That is the beginning of power. So how do you begin? You begin by practicing the art of separation. You tell yourself every day, this event is outside my control. This insult, this loss, this failure, it is not me. What matters is how I respond. The moment you understand this, you unlock freedom. No longer are you chained by the opinions of others. No longer are you enslaved by circumstances. No longer are you tossed around by every wave. You stand firm, you stand tall, and people notice. They begin to feel something different about you. They can't control you. They can't shake you. They can't pull you into their drama. And that makes you powerful in a way they cannot comprehend. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of our pain does not come from events themselves, but from the way we think about them. You lose money and your mind screams, "I am ruined." Someone leaves you and your mind whispers, "I am worthless." But the Stoic reverses this. The Stoic pauses, breathes, and says, "This is just an event. I will decide what it means. I will decide how it shapes me." This is not denial. This is power. Because when you master perception, you master life. Now let's make this practical. Here are the first exercises to begin building your fortress. Morning reflection. Every morning before the world touches you, sit in silence. Ask, what today is under my control and what is not? Write it down. Act only on the first list. Release the second, the pause. When emotion rises, anger, fear, frustration, do not react immediately. Count to 5. Breathe. Let the wave pass, then respond with intention. Evening journal. At night, reflect, where did I waste energy today? Where did I hold my fortress strong? Over time, you will notice progress. You will notice your mind hardening, sharpening, becoming untouchable. Imagine how different your life becomes when insults no longer cut you. Imagine how powerful you become when setbacks no longer break you. Imagine how free you become when you stop chasing validation and instead stand in silent strength. That is part one of our journey, the building of the inner fortress, the foundation of Stoicism, the art of becoming untouchable, but this is only the beginning. Because once the fortress is built, you must then learn to wield silence as a weapon, to transform adversity into fuel, and to rise into a state of power that few will ever reach. Stay with me. Because in the next part, we will dive deeper into the secret art of turning obstacles into opportunities and mastering the battlefield of life itself. You know, there is a hidden power that most people overlook, a weapon so sharp, so silent, that it protects your inner world like a fortress. What is it? It is the power of guarding your secrets. The Stoics, along with history's greatest thinkers, understood this principle. They knew that not everything inside you is meant for display. Your plans, your dreams, your weaknesses, even your victories, these are treasures, and treasures, if exposed carelessly, invite thieves. Let's slow down here. Imagine yourself carrying a candle in a storm. If you shield it with your hands, the flame survives. If you leave it exposed, the wind blows it out. Your secrets, your deepest visions, your inner strategies, they are that flame. Protect them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What he meant is that your inner world creates your outer reality. But here's the twist. When you talk too much, when you reveal your entire map, you weaken the die. You dilute the strength of your thoughts. You hand over your strategy to those who might not have your best interest at heart. Think about it. How many times have you shared an idea with someone, excited, vulnerable, open, only to feel their doubt, their skepticism, or even their envy poison your energy? That is why silence becomes your armor. But let's go deeper. Guarding your secrets isn't only about protecting yourself from others. It is also about building discipline within. When you choose silence, you are choosing restraint. You are training your tongue not to betray your heart. You are practicing self-control at the highest level. The modern world celebrates oversharing. Social media thrives on people broadcasting every detail of their lives. But remember this, the more you reveal, the more you weaken the mystery around you. And mystery is magnetic. Mystery is power. The Stoics would tell us, don't reveal your wounds until they're healed. Don't reveal your dreams until they have grown roots. Don't reveal your weaknesses until they've been transformed into strength. Why? Because the world can twist what you share. Words can be taken, used, or weaponized against you. But silence? Silence cannot be twisted. Now I want you to picture yourself as a fortress. Thick walls, iron gates, watchtowers. Inside this fortress lives your vision, your strength, your sacred truth. Do you throw open the gates and let anyone walk in? Or do you guard them, allowing only the right allies at the right time to enter? Guarding your secrets is not about paranoia. It's about selective openness. It's about knowing when to speak and when to keep still. It's about realizing that timing is everything. Sometimes silence today gives your words power tomorrow. There's also another dimension here. By keeping your deepest truths private, you keep them alive. You water them in silence, letting them grow strong roots before the world sees the branches. A seed planted too soon in harsh soil withers. But if you keep it hidden, nurtured, protected, it flourishes when the time is right. History proves this. Great leaders, philosophers, even revolutionaries all understood the art of secrecy. Machiavelli himself wrote that power is often preserved through concealment, not deception, concealment. A leader who reveals all his cards is already defeated, but a leader who reveals little commands respect and fear. And you? In your life, in your battles, in your journey, you are the leader of your destiny, of your empire. Guard your secrets like a ruler guards the treasury, because when you hold your silence, you hold your power. So let this become your daily practice. When you feel the urge to share everything, pause. Ask yourself, does this strengthen me or does this expose me? If the answer is exposure, stay silent. Protect your flame. Protect your fortress. Because the truth is, your silence will speak louder than your words ever could. Guard your secrets. Embrace your silence. And let the world wonder. In a world obsessed with recognition, validation, and applause, there lies a secret strength almost no one dares to practice anymore. Humility. Think about it. Everywhere you look, social media, workplaces, conversations, people are broadcasting their victories, their trophies, their milestones. It feels good to be seen, doesn't it? To have your efforts acknowledged? But the Stoics warned us, the moment you seek external praise, you hand over your power. Seneca once wrote, "He who indulges in empty pride loses solid goods." What he meant is simple. When you chase recognition, you lose the essence of your achievement itself. Because suddenly you're not acting for virtue, not for mastery, not for excellence. You're acting for applause. Let's pause here. Why do we feel the urge to announce our victories? Because deep down, the ego craves validation. It wants the world to confirm that we are worthy, that we are powerful, that we matter. But here's the paradox. The louder you shout about your greatness, the weaker it becomes. Real strength is silent. True mastery does not need a witness. Imagine a mountain. It doesn't need to declare its height. It doesn't need to post a picture of itself to prove its majesty. It just stands, silent, immovable, eternal. Your achievements should be like that mountain, unshaken, undeniable, and quiet in their greatness. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, ruled over the most powerful empire on earth. Yet in his private journal, his meditations, he constantly reminded himself, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Look instead to the work before you. Notice this, the most powerful man alive reminded himself not to get lost in ego, not to boast, not to brag. If a Roman emperor saw the danger of pride, how much more should we? When you talk about your achievements, you risk three things. You invite envy. People may not celebrate your wins, they may resent them. And envy is a silent enemy, working against you in ways you may never see. You create pressure. The more you announce your victories, the more the world expects you to keep proving yourself. You become trapped in a cycle of performance, chasing validation instead of mastery. You weaken the victory itself. By exposing it to the world too soon, you lose the sacredness of your accomplishment. It becomes external, no longer yours alone. The Stoics practiced humility not because they feared recognition, but because they knew that true achievement is internal. If you run a mile faster today than yesterday, that victory is yours, even if no one else sees it. If you conquer a fear, overcome a temptation, or master your emotions, that triumph is worth more than 1,000 likes because it shapes your soul. Think about the craftsmen of old, the stonemason carving intricate details on the back of a cathedral pillar, details no one would ever see. Why? Because excellence was not about being seen. It was about embodying mastery, about becoming someone who does great work, even in silence. And here's where humility transforms into power. When you stop talking about your achievements, you force your results to speak for themselves. People notice, even when you don't tell them. And when they notice, it carries more weight, because it's undeniable. It's like the warrior who doesn't brag about his victories. He doesn't need to. His scars, his presence, his discipline, they reveal everything. A boastful man seeks respect through words. A humble man commands respect through silence. Now let's bring this into your life. The next time you achieve something, big or small, try this. Instead of announcing it, sit with it. Feel the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've grown, improved, conquered. Let that inner fire be your reward. Share only with those who truly deserve to witness your journey, not with the crowd that claps today and forgets tomorrow. Because in the end, humility is not about hiding. It's about anchoring yourself in something deeper. It's about saying, I don't need the world to see my crown. I already know I wear it. So remember, do not talk about your achievements. Let them whisper through your character, your discipline, your results. For the man who walks in silence, carrying unseen victories, carries a power that no applause can ever give. There is a law of power that the ancients, the Stoics, and even modern strategists all agree upon. Never reveal your next move. Why? Because once your enemy, your rival, or even the people around you know your plan, they can predict you. And the moment you become predictable, you become vulnerable. Think of life like a battlefield. A general who announces his strategy to the enemy has already lost, but a general who moves silently, who deceives with stillness, who strikes when least expected, he is unstoppable. The same is true for you. Epictetus taught, be silent for the most part, or say only what is necessary. This wasn't just advice for casual conversation, it was a strategy for life. Every word you reveal is a piece of your map. Every announcement of your future is an arrow you hand over to others, and sometimes those arrows come back aimed at you. Let's imagine this in a more personal way. Suppose you are planning to start a new business, or change careers, or transform your body, or reinvent your life. The moment you broadcast it, you give space for doubt, resistance, and sabotage. Some will discourage you. That's too risky, you'll fail. Some will secretly hope you stumble. And even those who support you may unconsciously drain your momentum by talking more than acting. But if you keep your move a mystery, you protect your energy. You protect the seed of your idea. And when the time comes when you reveal the result instead of the plan, the world is left in shock. Now let's tie this to the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. He once reminded himself, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. What does that mean in this context? It means while others broadcast every step, you remain silent. While others live loudly, exposing their weaknesses, you move in shadows. You rise without warning. You let the results, not the predictions, do the talking. Strategic silence creates two powerful effects. It builds unpredictability. No one can sabotage what they cannot see. No one can block a move they don't know is coming. You remain untouchable because your enemies are always guessing. It amplifies impact. When you appear suddenly, with success, with strength, with transformation, you shock the world. Silence turns your results into thunder. Let's take a lesson from nature. The panther stalks in silence. You don't hear it coming. You don't see its muscles tightening, its claws preparing. But when it strikes, it's too late. That is the power of keeping your move a mystery. Contrast that with the rooster, always making noise, announcing itself, attracting attention, but lacking real danger. Ask yourself, are you moving like the panther or crowing like the rooster? Here's the practical truth. Silence requires discipline. It's tempting to share your excitement, to announce your plans, to prove you're making progress. But every time you do, you weaken your strike. You waste energy in words that could have been fuel for action. Machiavelli, the master of strategy, wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." But there's an unspoken part here. The wise man does it in silence. He does not announce. He acts. He moves. And only when the result is in his hands does the world realize what he has done. This is not about paranoia. It is about power. A chess master does not reveal his checkmate before it's made. He builds it silently, move by move, until the opponent is trapped. So too must you approach life. Think of your dreams. Think of your next move. Instead of announcing them, build them in silence. Protect them. Nurture them like a hidden fire. And when the world finally sees the flames, it will already be too late to stop them. So remember, keep your next move a mystery. Let silence be your shield. Let action be your weapon. And let shock be your ally. For the loud man is predictable, but the silent man, he is dangerous. There's a trap that destroys more men and women than failure ever will. A poison that eats away at discipline, focus, and peace of mind. What is it? Talking about others. The Stoics understood this clearly. The more time you waste speaking about the lives of others, the less time you spend building your own. Gossip, judgment, comparison, these are chains. They bind your mind to things outside your control. And remember, Stoicism always reminds us, focus only on what you can control. Let's be honest here. Why do we gossip? Why do we compare? It is the ego searching for comfort. When we talk about others, especially their flaws, we feel a momentary rise, a cheap sense of superiority. But this is counterfeit power. It is shallow, it fades quickly, and it weakens you. Marcus Aurelius warned, don't waste the rest of your life wondering what others do and why. Look instead to what nature demands of you. This is a call to stop feeding your energy into the endless theater of other people's lives. Because when you do, you drain the energy that should be invested into your own destiny. Now think of this practically. Every time you speak about another person, what they're doing, how they're failing, even how they're succeeding, you give them free rent inside your head. And in doing so, you neglect the construction of your own empire. Gossip is noise, and noise blinds you from hearing your own inner voice. Noise distracts you from your mission. Noise keeps you weak. But silence, restraint, detachment, that is where strength grows. When you refuse to talk about others, something powerful happens. You become untouchable because you are no longer tied to their actions, their opinions, or their drama. There's also a darker side to this. When you gossip, when you compare, when you involve yourself in other people's business, you reveal something about yourself. You reveal insecurity. You reveal envy. You reveal a restless spirit that cannot stand still in its own work. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to discuss others, you reveal mastery. You reveal focus. You reveal that your eyes are fixed forward, not sideways. Let's borrow a lesson from warriors. On the battlefield, the soldier who keeps looking at others is the first to fall. Why? Because his eyes are not on his target. He is distracted. He is vulnerable. But the warrior who is locked in, who doesn't care what others are doing, who only sees his own fight, he survives. He wins. And here's the key. Talking about others is not only about gossip, it's also about comparison. Looking at someone else's path, their progress, their possessions, and measuring yourself against them. But comparison is the thief of joy, and worse, it blinds you to your unique mission. Seneca put it clearly, no man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity. In other words, we suffer when we measure ourselves by false standards, by what others have, by illusions. The man who compares himself to others will never find peace. The man who looks only within finds unshakable strength. So here's the practice. The next time your tongue itches to speak about someone else, pause. Ask yourself, what does this give me? Does it make me stronger? Does it build my empire? Does it serve my destiny? The answer will almost always be no. And in that moment, your silence will be your victory. And when others gossip to you, stay neutral. Do not fuel the fire. Do not engage. Your silence will unsettle them because it reveals you are not like the rest. You are not concerned with petty drama. You are concerned with power, with mastery, with discipline. So remember this law. Don't talk about others. Guard your energy. Detach from gossip. Reject comparison. Focus on your path, your mission, your destiny. Because when your eyes are locked on your own work, nothing can stop you. There is a certain type of power that never needs to announce itself. A light that shines brightest in silence. What is it? The power of unspoken kindness. In today's world, people love to showcase their generosity. A donation must be photographed. A good deed must be shared online. A moment of kindness must be broadcast for likes and approval. But the Stoics, and the wise across all ages, warned us, when you seek applause for your kindness, you empty it of its virtue. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, when you've done a good act and another has benefited, why do you need a third thing? Applause? He understood that the act itself is enough. The good was already done. To demand recognition is to cheapen it. Let's pause and think about this. Why do we feel the urge to tell the world about our good deeds? The answer is ego. The ego wants the world to know we are virtuous, noble, kind. But here's the paradox. The more loudly you announce your kindness, the less kind it becomes. Because now it is not about the other person, it is about you. Real goodness doesn't need an audience. Real goodness is its own reward. Imagine this. A man sees someone hungry in the street. He buys them food. He leaves it quietly without his name, without expectation. He walks away, no photo, no applause, no reward. That act holds a sacred power because it was pure, because it was done for virtue, not for vanity. Contrast that with the man who makes sure everyone sees him giving, who poses for the picture, who makes noise about his generosity. Yes, the deed may still help, but its purity is lost. it becomes performance, and performance weakens the soul. Seneca put it wisely, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. He didn't say wherever there is an audience, perform kindness. He said opportunity, and opportunity does not require applause, it requires action. Now here's something deeper. When you practice unspoken kindness, you cultivate an inner wealth that no one can steal. Every silent good deed becomes a stone in the foundation of your character. It strengthens you, quietly, invisibly, powerfully. Over time, you carry an aura of strength and goodness that others can feel, even if they never know why. There's also a strategic dimension here. When you keep your good deeds unspoken, you protect them. No one can twist them, no one can mock them, no one can take them away. They remain yours alone, pure and untouched. And think about the effect it has on the receiver. When kindness is given without expectation, without demand, it feels different. It heals, it empowers, because it is real. So how do you practice this? Resist the urge to announce. When you do something good, fight the temptation to share it. Let it live in silence. Shift the focus inward. Instead of asking, who saw what I did? Ask, did I act according to my values? Practice anonymous giving. Do something where no one will ever know it was you. Feel the quiet joy of that. That is the essence of true generosity. Here's the truth. The loudest kindness is the weakest. The quietest kindness is the strongest. So remember, do not talk about your good deeds. Let them remain unspoken, pure, sacred. Because in the silence of virtue, your soul grows stronger, and that strength will carry you farther than any applause ever could.